This is the Drake Insights Podcast, your weekly dose of cutting-edge senior living marketing insights. Join me, your host, Natasha Drake, for bold ideas, proven strategies, and inspiring stories straight from the experts. Tune in and let's conquer the senior living marketing landscape together. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drake Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Drake from Drake Strategic. Let's get started. So on today's episode, I'm going to dig a little more into what I mentioned last week in talking about one of my top website tips is having strong interactive tools on your website to help convert higher quality leads from your website. And so I thought, who better to talk about that than Mary Greer from Engrain? And so welcome, Mary. Thank you for joining us. If you can introduce yourself.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you so much for having me. As you said, I'm on the Engrain team. I have been with Engrain almost 8 years. So I'm a lifer here at Engrain. That's what they call us. I have the role as a senior solutions consultant. I oversee all of our senior living market, as well as really help consult any of our clients on our full suite of products, but I specialize in our TouchTour solution, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. I not only have worked for Engrain for about 8 years, but I was previously a client of Engrain for several years prior, having worked in both the multifamily market and also the senior living market. So I have worked with our solution since 2009. And in the senior living market, we were the first at my CCRC life plan community to utilize Engrain's solutions within the senior space. So I have literally worked with our products from fruition. And now I'm fortunate every day to get to show people how they can really enhance their overall sales process and customer journey, within their communities.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just so happy to have you. I want to also say that I truly believe that having this interactive tool on your website is crucial today. And I know I mentioned that last week, but I wanted to reiterate that today with Mary on. And you especially, I think, is important for people to know having senior living experience, being in their shoes, working on the sales line, understanding how hard it is to that long process of working a lead and how tools like these can help salespeople today convert leads faster, close them faster, make it just a better experience. And so I appreciate you being here and kind of explaining that to our listeners today. If you don't mind talking a little more specifically, so I'm talking about website, but can you talk about Engrain, all the tools that Engrain has to offer?
Absolutely. So I think it's important to understand kind of where we are now, and kind of looking at the history of Engrain. So we initially started as a creative agency 20 plus years ago. So we have a long history of creating websites and doing branding and marketing. And we started providing interactive tools back in 2009 was when our touchscreen solution was launched. And that product is called TouchTour. That lives on site within sales centers, leasing offices. It's an engaging tool that ultimately anyone can walk up and utilize. In the multifamily market, it can be more self-service, but in the senior space, we usually see that being used in discovery rooms or sales counselors' offices where they're having that in-depth conversation and discovery with prospective residents. So it's a super engaging tool, a sales enablement tool that ultimately has everything they need to speak to what sets their community apart and really help find the right home for that prospective resident. And it's all right at their fingertips, right at their desk. One of the most important features within our touchscreen solution, TouchTour, is the interactive community map. And we had clients that would say, we utilize your TouchTour, but we love that map and we would love to have that on our property website. So we decided that's something everybody needs. And we productized that interactive map. We named it SightMap. And we now have, I believe it's close to or over 11,000 community maps, site maps out in the market today, in both senior, multifamily, and other market sectors. And so we specialize in this innovative mapping technology that takes a community map. It can showcase where the apartments are located within the community. It also showcases where the wonderful amenities and lifestyle aspects of that property are located. And someone can drill in and understand if they were to live, on a certain floor, what apartment might be most suitable to them that's closest, for instance, to the dog park or whatever their specific needs are in terms of location. So this tool has really helped expedite and move forward the engagement with a prospective resident or their family. Even before they connect with that sales counselor, they're already able to kind of understand a community as a whole and what might interest them.
Yeah, and as I mentioned last week, that's our buyer today. Those are our prospects today, and adult children. They want to, for independent living prospect, they want to go on the site and feel like they can get a feel of your community before they contact you. They want, like I mentioned, they want to see all the information, but they want those interactive tools. And one of those, like you're mentioning, is that SightMap. They can actually look at the amenities. They can look where the different apartments are, what's available, what's not. You can customize that, I believe, right? You can make it, what do you want to show? What do you not want to show? You can decide what that is, but let's let them be in control of their visit and their tour. It's going to then help you increase those conversions from your website. So yeah, I think that tool is really important. And I believe you have, if you don't mind sharing some of the data or stories or case studies a little more into that website tool specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on a point that I want to reference back to, in that transparency is a really big topic within the senior living market right now. And what you show and when you show it is something that, I think a lot of companies are sort of dabbling with as to what level of transparency are they really comfortable in showing on their website. Coming from the industry, I know back in the day, we would give a sprinkle of a floor plan or two to create a little bit of interest there, wet their whistle, if you will. But now more and more providers are realizing that you have to show more. You really need to give them what they're looking for from the beginning. Otherwise, you may lose that prospective resident, or in many, many cases, that adult child that is helping mom and is used to that instant gratification that we get with all shopping today. You can go online and you can shop for anything you need to, filter down to what you're looking for, and get it immediately. And that is ultimately what SightMap does. And with that, going towards those stats that you wanted to talk about, we've run several market research studies. We've consulted with our clients to gain insights into what results they see after implementing SightMap. And we see that by adding SightMap to the property website, it increases the site session and duration engagement by 24% on average. We see that prospects have twice as many sessions or views within the SightMap's website pages compared to if you just show floor plans. So that's, I think, very telling, in that people, to your point, are getting in there and they want to dig in and they want to find out more and really, do their research ahead. We also see that they spend 88% longer on unit level searches, meaning they are digging into those specific apartments. And what's really cool about this tool is we can utilize everything else that you're incorporating, like you're investing right now in virtual tours, for instance. That's an investment that you want to reap the most out of, right? So we can add within SightMap those links to those virtual tours. And in doing so, you will see an increase in that volume and use as well. So we see that well over 100% increase in when you add a virtual tour to that individual home within the SightMap search. So it's making that investment in even those other areas go further, which is really exciting and what we
I
want.
forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, all that photography, lifestyle photography, videos, if you have content, whatever you have that ties to a specific apartment or amenity, menu, whatever it might be, I'm sure you can do anything. You can attach it to that place, and that's just going to extend that user's time on that page, which is what we want, right? We want them to spend time on your site, click through your site, look at all those interactive tools, that's going to then help them convert. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. It's a really cool feature.
Well, and most importantly, we want to convert them to a lead, right? Like that's the most important thing. We want to get not only that lead, but that applicant, ideally, right? So we do see an increased volume of conversion to applicants and depositors. So, we have stats that show that there's an increase of applicant volume to up to 225%.
Wow.
So that's huge. And I do think it goes back to that empowerment. It goes back to prospective resident or family member being able to reach out and say, these are the homes that I feel are best suited to me. And then that counselor, of course, can take that ball, run with it, and get them where they need to go from there. But that engagement and the empowerment that seniors feel is really, really important from the beginning.
Well, and I do want to speak to that. I think a lot of the sales team members probably listening are thinking, I want to be in control. I want to make sure I'm directing them through that process. And I know that can be a little scary. As a salesperson also in my past life, I know what that feels like. But I think what these tools are doing for these prospects, like you just said, are letting them feel in control. Because once you get them in the door, they're in your control. You can kind of guide them as you need. But you're also getting a ton of information because when they're on that site, digging around, clicking on things, reading things, you then know before they come in what they were interested in and looking at, right? They've already had an idea and they've had a touch. They've seen photos. They've already kind of come in going, well, I definitely want to be, I know I want to be able to near the elevator and your dining room looks incredible. It'd be great to be down the hall. And so it's really helping you. A lot of times, when I would do visits and tours, you're going in cold. You have no idea. You're trying to do discovery, see how much you can figure out about the prospect before you do your tour, and it can be difficult. So tools like this interactive tool can actually help you in the long run for them to come in and have a more personalized, guided visit rather than just going cold. So I do think it's a really neat feature. I wish I had when I was doing sales, but something that, with the data I've seen with my clients, we have seen an increase in conversions. And so I do truly believe a tool like this is very helpful for the sales team.
Absolutely.
So is there anything, Mary, any last leaving tips or anything else you want to mention before we end today?
I think that my best advice is to try things, go outside the box of what we've all kind of traditionally thought are the marketing tactics and strategies that have been put in place for all of these years and branch out and try something new and different, because the seniors today are not the seniors that we had 10 years ago, and especially not anywhere past that. They are a much more tech savvy group. They are wanting to find that information, that immediate gratification when going to your website. So exploring options that really ultimately speak to the seniors today and the families that are in that search is really, really important. So that would be my best advice, is try something different. And you don't have to spend a lot to do it. So, one thing that we have prioritized in building these maps is to also give something that is affordable for communities, that you don't have to have a big development budget to have this type of tool on your website. And I've already spoken to how it can make the money you've spent in other areas go further. But this particular solution in general is a pretty affordable solution. So we've made it where whether it's a community that's, 30 years old that stays pretty occupied, but still could use that, that engagement that competes with the other communities that are doing a little bit more from a technology standpoint. Or it's, of course, that shiny new development or expansion that you want to go ahead and wet their whistle and get them excited about coming in and placing those early deposits. Really, SightMap is suitable for any community. We truly believe that every community can use a map and not just on their website, but that's a tool in hand for sales counselors to utilize.
Yeah.
And so it's twofold there. You get the benefits for both prospective residents and that on-site team that we care so much about.
I agree. And it's something just that goes with everything else that's digital these days. We can turn it on, let's test it, let's see how it's increasing our results. Because I'm not going to say guarantee, but pretty sure you're going to see an increase in results, for a small amount that you're paying monthly, just like you're paying for e-newsletters or whatever it might be, right? You're really going to help increase those web leads. And that's what we need to be focusing on today with all the digital traffic you're getting. So thank you for mentioning that. Okay, well, that's all we have for today. Mary, thank you so much for introducing us to Engrain and to yourself. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to me or to Mary. We're happy to guide you on this path if you're interested. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye. Real quick, if you enjoyed watching the podcast today, please follow me and subscribe so you're notified for the next podcast. And if you have any questions or want to talk after about anything that Drake Strategic can provide for you, please reach out to me, call me, email me, or visit our website at drakestrategic.com.